Glow World is live streaming. Oh, my people. Yes, I'm live streaming. Please reduce the volume to avoid whatever. Greetings from me to you all. So today is Thursday. Today is my mommy's birthday. And I just want to thank God for God's mercy. I want to thank God for His grace. Babe, could you please take down the volume a little bit? I want to thank God for giving my mom. Why do you have to wait? Okay? Clean yourself, toilet seat. Use the tissue. Anyways, and back. So my mom's birthday is today. Thanks be to God that my mom is still alive. So I'm so grateful to God Almighty for all these blessings that that add no sorrow. I thank God. Some people are alive, but they are not alive. Turn on. Excuse me. So some people are alive and passing through some health challenges, which everyone do pass through. Just that it differs. Some people, the moment they are getting older, just experience. Whose tablet is that? Please plug your headphone. Oh my goodness. I turn it off, period. Plug your headphone. So today is another day. Today is Thursday. Hi to you. MD, hi to you. Hi to you, sweetheart. So today is Thursday. Thank God. Today is my mom's birthday. I am happy. I've not been around, but glory be to God. I'm back home safely, sound and healthy. To my new subscribers on YouTube, thank you so much. We are going to deliberate on that topic that's the caption there. A lot is going on all over Europe. If you have a question, when we start the main topic, I hope you can shoot in your question, okay? Creeps, hi to you. Hi to you, dog. I know it's this one. Jakey player. Jakey player. Are you okay? Is there anything going on with your life? With your life? Are you passing through some challenges? So you see, social media is a place where people come to do. Thank God for social media. It's probably what? Imagine, because I don't know why the person put the emoji. I bet you he is. She is. What most of them do is fake accounts. Fake accounts. Fake accounts. That's what they do on social media. Well, however you want to do your whatever you want to do on social media, me, I'm ready. I'm always ready, okay? Like a few months ago, many people were just here on my YouTube trying to do one or two things. Give me your number, all of that, blah, 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 blah. It's natural to ask for people's number. But when I said no, the same people came back to call me names. Now, let me let me just educate. No one can call me names because me, I analyze people's life. Yes, now. I do my own normal thing. So imagine you thinking you can call me names just because I refuse to give out my number. And this one is coming here. Even, do you know the people I block on Facebook? They come to my YouTube and try to use different accounts. My own friends, my old friends, I blocked them. I have my reason of blocking them. What do you do on here? I do anything, all manner of things. Orishirishi, my love. Orishirishi. There's something called you see but I'm here to deliberate on topics. What I do here is I show my life, like my normal lifestyle. I deliberate on topics. That's my job, okay? So I speak on topics. After, if I don't speak on topics, I will analyze people's life. The people that have chosen to bring their lifestyle to social media. Why not? If not, I will analyze them. Like VDM, I will analyze him. Many of you don't know VDM. I will analyze every other person. So I do my lifestyle contents. I do analysis. Okay, that's what I do. My lifestyle contents and analysis. Analysis with what is happening on social media. Analysis on topics, or sometimes I motivate people by just topics. So events. So today is all about what is happening all over Europe. First of all, there is an event that is going on in Dublin. I don't know where you are watching me from, but if you are watching me from wherever you are watching me from, there is an incident that is ongoing right now in Dublin because of certain things that took place. So that's my topic for today. But before that topic, I want to see all the social media. I know some of you are not social, like you are not a presenter, you are not an analyst, you are not even a blogger. Some of you just open Facebook or YouTube to watch people, or just want to get along with other persons or get involved in other person's life. You want to make friends, which is okay. Just pop in. What's going on? Hi to you, sweetheart. Oh my goodness, what a beautiful name, Mystery. I'm here to speak on a topic, okay? Topic today. So I was meant to do my blending, like I said before now. Sometimes I do my own lifestyle. I show you what I do for the day. I blend, I do some certain things, put some topics out there, put some advice out there, or try to ask people questions for them to help me to live a better life. And I just love people that love me. So living a boring life is very boring. Like you are always, oh, nice. Thank you, sweetheart. So it's always like, I personally most times don't go out. I don't go out. And most times it's so boring when you don't go out. You have to be in one place, at one place, and do all of that and all of that. It's boring, I must confess. And I'm alone at home. It's boring. So thank God to social media that may God give me people that will love me. Yes. And then we come to social media. You do what you know how to do best. When I was there in Nigeria, because I'm always busy, I will go to work. Yes, but here right now, I am not working for now. I'm not working. So it's a bit boring. And I have people, at least I have people that like me now, or my real followers. Yes. I know I've had people that, I always have people, someone that would like me. But at least, if I'm bored, I open my social media, I talk to people. Yes. Okay? I talk to people. So depending on how the Spirit directs. Hi, Jean. Sinclair. Sinclair. That's a name. Best of luck on your channel. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. So I do all manner of things, Sinclair. I do all manner of things. So today is about what's happened. So we are going to speak about that today. So I saw some various videos, here and there videos, but I'm not ready to deliberate on those videos that popped up my FYB. I don't want to deliberate on it, but I have some videos that I would have loved to analyze. But since I'm not interested for now, I can just skip those videos. And let's speak on all of this that is going on, something that has to do with us. It may not be you, but it may be your loved ones. It may get to your loved ones someday. But I am not the one that is going to deliberate on what is going on around us all over Europe. I'm not going to be the one to speak on that topic, so I will personally invite my man to speak on that topic. And please, if you have a very serious question, do not pardon him. Like he always say, don't pardon. Oh my, oh, Sita, oh my queen, I'm okay. How are you, love? Happy, beautiful Thursday to you, sweethearts. I hope you are doing well. Oh, my baby. Thank God. Thank God for today. Oh my goodness. I'm perfect, love, sister. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay, my love, okay? I'm okay. And I hope you are okay. Yes. If you are not okay, you will not be here. So thank you so much for coming to support your girl. So, yeah. So based on that, Obi will be here to speak on that topic, okay? Because a lot has been going on, and he will be on that topic, this same topic, for 2 days, today and tomorrow. So ask him any question, because he loves challenge. I don't know why he likes people to challenge him. Honestly, I do not know. Challenge him for me. Ask him any question for me. Every time I tell him about my queens, oh, my queens are very, he will say, let them challenge me with topics. So it's all good to go. So we must challenge him with topics. We must challenge him with so many questions. Yes. Because he cannot be telling us, tell your friends, online friends, to challenge me. Sometimes I don't know what to say. Challenge him when he comes here. Ask him questions. Don't wait. Ask questions. Ask him questions. Because sometimes it's like your queens don't know how to ask questions. Ask questions so that I will not be put to shame. Every time I go live streaming, two persons will just be throwing questions. I want you to ask him questions. He must answer questions. If you don't know about what is going on, Google it. Go and Google it. Ask him questions. Not just what is going on. Any field, any areas, any whatever subjects. He said he's ready. Imagine challenging my own followers, telling me that he's ready for any question that will come from any field, that is ready. Sometimes I feel bad also that how could my husband be telling me that my queens don't ask him questions? And I told him that they do. He said no, they should throw their questions in various fields, medically, otherwise, politically, anything. He said anything. To those from Nigeria, Orishirishi question. Ask. Yes. Because it's not nice that he always say, oh, your queens, But one thing for sure is my queens are smart. So most times they are not online. And I explained this to him that most times my queens are not online. Maybe it's just passers by that are just watching him and all of that. It's not about my queens. Most times they are not online. They work and time differs. So let me call him first. Babe, please come. Even though you don't have question, don't worry. He's here to say something. Because many of you may not know what is going on. Excuse me.
What's the story, Jack and Art?
Oh, now, I will ask you
Hey guys, hello everybody. Yeah, you're asking questions. You're asking questions.
There's a lot going on right now around Europe, right? And especially the recent event that took place in Dublin. And
Yeah,
considering that child and that, could you please
I'm good, Zita. How are you?
speak on that topic, please?
Yeah, guys. A couple of days ago, there was a young girl. This is
And you are going to still speak on this topic tomorrow, okay?
look,
Please.
nobody says these things have never happened before. Okay, even within our own communities in our own countries. But the thing is that nobody needs to invite more craziness into their country. Nobody needs it. No country needs it. And unfortunately, all across Europe, in a lot of ways, we have. And the crime stats speak for themselves. If you look at different countries all across Europe, they're through the roof. So a couple of days ago, a young girl was raped, and she was only 10 years of age. She was taken into what they call an IPAS center, right? So an IPAS center is another word for fake refugee center. Most of these people arrive without papers. They are not refugees, the vast majority. There are some, obviously, of course, and they deserve to have all their needs attended to if they're genuine refugees. That's the way the refugee system works all across the world. So there's no issue there. But a refugee is meant to be dealt with in their country of origin, or the first country they arrive in, the first safe country. That was the international agreement for a very long time. They changed this in Europe by bringing in this IPAS, international protection, whatever. It doesn't really matter what it means. It's just absolute balderdash tosh, right? So they brought in this agreement to circumnavigate international refugee law so as they could open the borders and bring in as many people as they liked. But the problem is that they're not checking these people. They're not looking at their history. They're not looking at their background.
Sorry to...
And they don't care.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
It's because some of these people, to me, they travel through Libya, and sometimes some will take, what they call them, they just surrender themselves, like turn around and say some stories that is not even,
Well, yeah, a lot of
some of them will turn their their real passports.
Well, look. There's multiple stories that have been proven online of non-government organisations who have been basically coaching these people what to say. These have been exposed all across Europe.
Oh, please forgive them. Anyways, I want to ask you something.
What?
Do you have any problem of people coming into Peru if truly they just come, be nice, and do
No.
just do the real
Look,
thing?
I've already said this. If you're a genuine refugee, then you deserve to have and get refugee status. But like I said, international law states originally, and it still exists, even though the EU has created a situation where they've got around international law. That's why they brought in the IPAS system, because it allows them to ignore international law. And that's what they've done.
So the Dublin
So,
case.
so the Dublin case is of this young girl,
Patricia is here.
and she was meant to be in a place controlled by the state, owned by the state,
You see
and
Patricia?
yeah, I've seen her. Hi, Patricia, and policed by state police. But yet, and all, this young child was managed to be picked up in a street somewhere and brought into this centre and raped. And people got very, very, very angry, which is understandable.
Yeah.
So you had a couple of nights ago, after this happened, you had what they called a riot, right? Now I don't know if anybody's seen footage of this, but there's a lot of controversy surrounding this. The police showed up basically in rack gear, fully
Can you speak?
ready to
Okay,
go.
just use P. P.
P? The
Yes,
P?
just use,
Oh, okay.
just use P.
I'll say, so the P showed up
Yes.
fully ready to go for trouble, fully dressed for it, with all the shields and helmets and everything else that they need. They didn't show up looking to police.
P.
Sorry, I meant P in a different way.
Just say P.
They didn't show up in a way to manage
You said P.
a peaceful protest,
Okay,
which
I think
apparently it was.
Patricia asked a question. Come.
Is there a difference between a migrant and a refugee? Yes, there's a huge difference between a migrant and a refugee. A migrant, generally speaking, up until a few years back, was a person who applied for a visa, either to work or because they had married a person from that country, or because of student reasons, or there's multiple reasons to get a visa, and they became migrants. So now there could have been a part-time migrant in a sense, like a student or whatever, but they were migrating from one country to another and spending time in that country, and that's essentially what a migrant was. A refugee is a person who's fleeing conflict, war. That was the original definition of a refugee. That has been changed. That has been changed by the EU to, like I said again, to circumnavigate international law. That's why they did it. So now they've included multiple categories within refugee. So they've included people who believe they're under oppression or believe that their lives may be in danger because of the regime that they're fleeing, or they could say that for example that their sexual orientation is under they could be harmed in the country that they're fleeing because of it. And you have to understand that a lot of people saying these things, like we've had people in this country who have said these things, and the next minute they're asking for their wives to come across after saying that their sexual orientation was a specific direction, which it wasn't. You know what I mean?
There's a comment there. There's a comment on YouTube.
Yeah, they said hi.
Then go.
Somebody says get them out. I can understand. Is there a difference between, yeah? Is it the same as an asylum seeker? Well, definitely a migrant can be an asylum seeker. A refugee can eventually become an asylum seeker, yes. But the essentially asylum seeker is another way around, or another way to weaken the whole idea around borders, because a refugee could seek asylum, or a political refugee especially. That was generally where the asylum came from, I think, in a lot of ways.
Patricia is asking, so
I'm answering.
Okay, yeah,
So the thing is like, if like years ago, like if you were a refugee, well, I mean, you could be an asylum seeker on various grounds, but generally speaking, it was mostly under political persecution, that type of thing. You know, that's the way it was for a lot of decades, and that eventually come under being understood as a sense of a refugee. You know what I mean? In another format. You know what I mean? So that's essentially what seeking political asylum or seeking religious asylum or seeking whatever was is generally considered to be a refugee in a different, slightly different format.
See another comment on that comment.
But they have changed this completely. They're coming on the boats. Hi, Patricia. They're coming on the boats from France because it's easy to get to France, but it's not easy. See, the way the rules are meant to work is you're meant to seek asylum or you're meant to seek refugee status in the first country, safe country that you arrive in. So if you're arriving from North Africa, or if you're arriving from the Middle East, or if you're arriving from a lot of countries where there's been issues, you're generally speaking you're going to arrive in Southern Europe. You're going to arrive in Spain. You're going to arrive in Italy. You're going to arrive in parts of France. You're going to arrive in places like this, and even Germany and other countries in Central Europe, because there's direct flights into them countries. There's a strong chance you could arrive into them. But generally speaking, for England and for Ireland, there's no real direct flights, or very few and far between, from the likes of the Middle East and Africa. So what they've done is they've arrived into Europe, made their way to France, and then they cross the channel via boat. And the main reason behind it seems to be, and always has been considered to be, and is recognised as, the welfare system is much more generous in England than it is in France.
Did you check
or
YouTube? Sorry,
other,
love. You
certain
have
other
some-
places.
And tell your followers.
No, it's the same. It's the same.
No, someone just say.
During this project, no, there's nothing. There's nothing new there, baby.
No, some.
They have no respect for a way of living. A lot of them definitely don't, but there a lot
Please
of them.
thumbs up the video, YouTube video.
A
Sorry
lot of
about
them,
that, and Facebook, please.
Jay Sprints,
So
a lot of them.
we won't be cut down, okay? Don't put it down here, out here.
Yeah.
Please, thumbs up the video so it will stay, okay? Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of people arriving into Europe at the minute have no respect whatsoever for European values. Yeah, definitely, Jez. Like, I'm Irish myself, and they're coming in without. In fact, they're destroying papers and stuff before they come in. A lot of them, because they don't want to be. They don't want to be traced. They don't want to be. They don't want background checks done on them. They don't want their country of origin to be notified that particular person is here, because they know what's going to happen as a result. You know what I mean? So they're covering their tracks. Is France? Patricia's asking, is France not safe? No, I don't believe it is anymore, Patricia. For many people, the same way a lot of the big cities all across Europe aren't safe anymore. I honestly would struggle to name a big city that I would consider safe compared to what it was 15, 20 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, Dublin is not a safe city. London is not a safe city. Paris, Marseille. In fact, like I said, I would struggle to try and think of a safe major city at this stage, especially the capitals. You know, and a lot of it has to do with not all of it, but a lot of it has to do with inward immigration and the pressures it's putting on society all across Europe. You know.
Then there's one on YouTube. I think that should be P, Queen P.
Hi, Tamara, I think that is.
Oh,
Somebody is saying,
okay.
Otis, hi, Ireland. Patricia's saying, stop the damn boats and benefits. Well, that would probably work, Patricia, but like, the problem is that the policy of opening the borders comes from the governments in the first place. And it comes from the whole, I don't know if you remember, I've said this before, the whole lockstep thing that happened during COVID. The lockstep thing had a lot more to do than just the COVID thing. It had an awful lot more than that. You know what I mean? And it's still ongoing today. They're still in lockstep. They're still moving towards a specific goal. And that goal part of that goal is the flooding of Europe. Part of that goal is that, and also the downward turn that we're seeing in Europe. Like Volkswagen is 12 billion in the red. German industry is collapsing, and Germany is the heart of Europe in an industrial sense, and has been and always has been for a very, very, very long time. They are the biggest revenue creators or tax creators in the whole of Europe, and their economy is collapsing. It's collapsing in real time, people. And when it collapses, it will bring half of Europe with it. And that's only a year or two away at this stage.
You have comments on YouTube. So many comments
Susie.
before you come.
You're
to
from the north and you've
Patricia.
been through the troubles. And my uncle was from the south, Tyrone, Brendan McGrath, tough Republican. Yep, I'm from the north. I'm from
Okay.
west of Belfast myself. So I understand where you're coming from there, Jay, and I understand what your uncle went through. I went through it myself. I grew up in it. So, yeah, I think it's not just Dublin that's sick of it, Jay. It's everywhere that's sick of it, you know. They get a
Sorry.
4-star hotel, begs a card from the Home Office, issues, and 3 meals a day. It's not fair. It's not. It's not. Like, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's going on that's extremely unfair. Like, I mean, there's a 2-tier justice system going on all across Europe. It's not just happening in England. It's happening everywhere. It's happening here in Ireland. It's happening in France. It's happening all across every European nation, nearly. There's also the fact that they're skipping the queues. They're skipping the established queues that we had for decades for housing, and stuff like this. And this is patently unfair. And it's being done on purpose by governments to piss people off. They want us fighting each other. That's what they want. They want us at each other's throats so as they can blame us for the things that they're doing, for the things that they're causing, you know? So, yeah, well, Patricia, I think for a lot of countries at the minute, as far as taxes are concerned, it's got to the point where countries are so much in debt across Europe that like this is a black hole. Like I don't think there's a way out. You know, I think a financial I mean the globalists have said there's going to be a financial reset, and as well as the Great Reset, as they call it. And they're going to shut down industry wherever and whenever they like. Like, I mean, you're seeing these blackouts from banks where all of a sudden their cards aren't working in different countries, and shops are not able to take specific cards, or the whole shop goes down because they work on a specific system. This is something that's coming, like massive electrical blackouts, financial blackouts. All this is planned. All this is planned, guys, and it's coming. You know what I mean? So you can believe it or not. You can decide what you want. But these people who have brought about the situation we're in, and that what happened to that young girl, these people have planned all this. They've gamed all this out a long time ago, and they're not going to stop because they believe they'll get what they want in the end, and that's what they're after. So I don't know, guys. Tell me what you think. Like, but I mean, like Jay was saying to me earlier about
Did you
the
tell your
north. Like
friends
I've been
to
on
like your videos?
yeah. We'll do that in a minute. I've been onto the jackboot of
Please like up this
totalitarianism
video,
since I
okay?
was born.
Thank you.
I mean, and I've seen what they're capable of. I've seen what governments are capable of. They don't care about nobody. And they don't care about nothing. They never have and they never will. Generally speaking, what I've found is the people who run governments and the people who become politicians are the worst of people. They are the most insular, narcissistic, self-serving people I've ever seen in my life. None of them give a crap about anybody. And all they do is run around patting each other on the back and telling each other, aren't we great? We are doing a great job. Even though all they're doing is the bare minimum, and they're certainly not serving their people. They're serving themselves. It's also blatant entitlement of these migrants on display that makes us so angry. Yeah, Patricia, I would agree. There's a lot of that going on too. There's a lot of the, um, like you see people coming across and saying, "Give me this and give me that," and but you have to remember, like our government alone, the Irish government alone, sent out invitations to people to come to Ireland, and offered them free housing, and they offered them basically free everything. You know what I mean? Free money, free housing, free food, free this, free that, and saying, "Come to Ireland, come to Ireland." And this is like, I don't know, guys. Like, they call this a conspiracy theory, but I know it isn't. I know for a fact it isn't, because I knew it long before they called it a conspiracy theory. And it's called the Clontarf plan. And this thing has been around for a long, long time. And if you look into what it's truly about, it's about replacement theory. And even the official WEF stuff, you know, the little circle with a multicolored pin, that all the politicians were. Like the WEF is not voted into any power, and they're not meant to have any power. But yet, and all the politicians wear their little badge. They all wear the WEF badge, the Sustainable Development Goals, which was developed by the WEF. The Agenda 2030 was developed by the WEF. So even though the WEF have never been voted in by anybody and supposedly have no power, as far as we were told by politicians, all the politicians sing their tune. Strange that, isn't it? Considering they have no power. So, guys,
Did Patricia put first question? I saw a comment from Patricia. This one.
yeah, but I answered that
Oh,
one.
that's what.
So the Jay-Z says, or no, some 420 says audits Ireland, UN Immigration Pact, or politicians signed up to. Yeah, it even happened before that. 420 audits Ireland, it happened well before that. Like there was, I call it Agenda 2130 because it was originally called Agenda 21. It was signed up to in the 1992 World Summit in Rio. And it was a book this big. And it basically covered every aspect of life from the cradle to the grave, from your very birth to your death. And it covered everything in between. It covered all aspects of farming, of agriculture, of where you were allowed to go and where you weren't allowed to go, you know, like the China stuff. It covered every single aspect of life. And they pushed it out to 2030 because they knew they couldn't achieve it by 2021. So around 2018, sometime 2017, sometime around then, they decided to push it out to 2030, and it became Agenda 2030. And most people know it as Agenda 2030, but it was originally called Agenda 2021. And this thing was written, now you have to imagine it was given out at the Rio World Summit in 1982, so you have to imagine this document is massive, it's thousands of pages long. And you have to think that if it's that big, how long were they in the writing of this thing? How long were they in the creation of this thing? And to be honest, they were creating this for hundreds of years. This isn't a recent thing. They've been at this for a very, very, very long time. And like I went around for most of my life believing that most people were good people and they wouldn't do these type of things and all the rest of it. And we all believe that about people because we like to think the best of people in general. I don't mean specifically in every individual. I mean in general we like to think humanity is good. But in general, unfortunately, the people that control us, they're not. And glad to see Guinness is back. Yeah, Tracy, no worries. The thing is, don't get fixated on. I used to get fixated years and years ago about who was doing this. You know what I mean? Who were they? And you don't need to get fixated on that, guys. There's a few groups that are involved in this, and they're not many, and they control everything, and they both start with J, and one is from the Christian orientation, and one is from the Judean orientation. And they have been working hand in glove for thousands of years. And basically they control every other small branch or organization out there, and they always have done because they created them. So, so that's all you really need to know about them. Two-tier policemen who carried out as well their oath is to the crown. Well, the oath, that's the thing about the police. The police of any country,
Just the P.
the police of any country, or sorry, the P of any country have always been sworn to the state. No, the same as the military. If you look at the oaths and stuff that they take, the same as the judiciary. If you look at the oaths they take, the oaths aren't to the people. They have nothing to do with people. That's why our supposed leader stood up in the Dáil and said, we don't want anything more to do with that backwards idea of sovereignty. Like, he could stand up and say that in our government building to a packed house full of politicians, and not one of them said a word. Not one of them. And that was a few years ago. It's quite amazing. Like, I was quite amazed to see that not one politician stood up and said, this is traitorous, because the people are sovereign. They derive their power from the people. This is the idea of democracy. If you have no other idea of democracy, that's the simple, single idea of democracy, that power derives from the people. And he blew that clean out of the water, and nobody said a word. And don't get me wrong, guys, this is what all politicians think. All of them. And they always have done. Like I say, I grew up under the jackboot, and I know what they're capable of. They will, if given the chance, if given the time and the power, they will come into your house at 3 o'clock in the morning. They will break every wall, every door, every floor, every sink, every toilet. They will wreck your house. They will destroy it, everything in it, to make it unlivable, if they can't take you away. And if they can't take you, they'll take somebody and make an excuse for it.
Thumbs up the video.
That's what they do. I've seen them do it. They've done it to my family, and they'll do it to others. They have
Please
no
thumbs
problem.
up the video, guys. Friends, online family, please. The people on YouTube, please subscribe
Telling
to our
Africans
channel.
to come to Ireland and
Please
get
thumbs up
25k
the
for
video,
schooling
please.
now. Yeah.
So the video can say, thumbs up the video, please.
Tom, I think my biggest bugbear with a lot of people that are coming. Now, I have no problem, like I said before, I have no problem with people coming here to work and whatever, because people do it. People do it all across the world. So I have no problem with that. The problem is that we have people that are coming here to work in various industries, and they have qualifications. For example, you're talking about schooling. They're being offered teaching posts in this country without any type of examination whatsoever about their qualifications. So their qualifications are being accepted no matter where they're coming from, so they could print their qualifications out in a printer in the middle of nowhere and come to this country and say, oh, look, there's my qualifications. And nobody's going to ask to prove that. Nobody's going to say, well, how do we know this is true? Or take this test. They're not going to do that. And they have been doing this with medical people. They've been doing this with doctors. They've been doing this with nurses. And people have died. In fact, there's hundreds of people who have died as a result of this.
So, let's see, put your comments.
I will say this, Maggie would not have put up with this. Patricia, personally speaking, I'm not a friend of Maggie. But you have to remember that from my position and from the way I view things, she was as much a globalist as anybody. She might have had her own opinions on things, but she played the game. Because politicians are just fronts, they're faces. That's the face you see. It's not the power. They don't have the power. They've never had the power. The same way Stammer doesn't have any power. The same way none of the political leaders have power at the minute. No political leader in America has held actual power since Kennedy. And he only held it for a short time, and look what they did to him. You know what I mean? So no, there's very, very, very few politicians who actually hold any power at all. They're being
Please thumbs up the video
manipulated
so the
and
video
used
can stay.
by much more powerful powers in that
Thank
sense.
you.
Like I mean, most people don't know, like, but the vast majority of judiciary all across Europe is Freemasonry. They're all Freemasons, and they're inducted into it when they get involved with that type of thing. You know, the vast majority of the aristocracy in Europe are all
Just give me 1 second to appreciate Patricia. Put it this way. Patricia on Facebook, thank you so much, sweetheart. Sometimes it looks as if Patricia knows more, right? And I really appreciate your wisdom. Okay, sweetheart? May God continue to grace you with more wisdom. You know, when sensitive topics like these are
well.
put out
Patricia's
there,
asking,
some
should
people don't understand. Okay,
so
you
should
may not agree.
not the people have the power?
So Patricia, please say thank you so much.
My answer to that, Patricia, would be, I believe in, my personal belief would be direct democracy. So I don't know how many people are really aware of how it works, but it's a fairly simple system. It's not very complicated. Direct democracy means that, like, the people, any major change that is going to happen within the country is put to the people.
Someone said, sorry, please 1 second, just a minute. On YouTube, right your hand. What did they say?
What?
Someone said something on YouTube. Your right hand phone.
Judea's people front, yeah, or the people's front of Judea, Tom, yeah. But the thing is direct democracy works in a way where you can either have a poll of a certain amount of people, citizens, who turn around and say, we want this, we want to have a referendum on this. So say, for example, it's 100,000. You have to get 100,000 signatures, and once you reach that number, then a referendum must be held. So that's part of the power of direct democracy. Another part is that any change that is fundamental to the order and good running of society has to be put to the people. So generally speaking, everything, including taxes and all the rest of it, it all has to be agreed on, and that is democracy. That's how democracy works. Any other form of democracy is just it's just watered down crap. It's stuff that we've been sold as democracy. Democracy hasn't existed in Western civilization for a very, very, very long time. The closest country, as far as I know, that comes to it would be the likes of Norway or somewhere like that. And even there, it's still not actually direct democracy, but it's closer than a lot of other places. But that type of thing politicians don't want, because they, as far as they're concerned, is how can you get any work done? How can you do anything? And my attitude towards that would be, well, what you get done properly, because everybody agrees to it, or the vast majority of people agree to it. So, and I think a lot of what we're seeing in the last lot of years in America and in Europe as well, all these fixing of elections, because there's a lot of that happening, guys. I think a lot of that is to negate a sort of an awakening towards direct democracy, towards people going, no, this is actually the smartest way to do things, and the fairest way. You know what I mean? Because everybody's voice does count in a scenario like that. But the thing is like, if you've got election systems that are run by AI and digital stuff, like, I mean, it's so easy to manipulate. So easy to
AI is
manipulate.
really,
You know?
you know what? AI is really in control. This,
We the people oppose the poll tax for sure. Yeah. Patricia, here in Ireland there was an EU referendum called Lisbon, and there was one called Nice. And on both occasions, both of these were separate referendums here in Ireland. On both occasions, I took part in this. I was here during this. People went out to vote, and the people who got up out of their beds or made the effort to go out and vote on both occasions on the first vote were people who were interested in politics, were people who were looking at what this meant, who rationally sat down and thought about it and said to themselves, sorry, this isn't in the benefit of the people. And they voted against it. They voted against Lisbon one and they voted against Nice one. And then we were told we had to vote again. So the referendum wasn't a referendum, it was now a choice, right? So we were told you give the wrong answer, you have to vote again. So we went out and we voted again on Nice and we voted again on Lisbon. But what they really didn't tell you was that in between these votes, there was a massive campaign, propaganda campaign, wielded by the governments and the EU, funded by a lot of money from the EU, saying that we would lose jobs, we would lose influence, we would lose power, we would lose this if we didn't vote yes, right? And then you had the EU saying that, well, what does Ireland bring to the table? Sure, it hasn't got sovereignty, right? So they were threatening Ireland on various levels, on a political level, and they were threatening us personally as people. They were saying, you will lose money, you will lose jobs, you will suffer if you don't vote yes. That's essentially what they were saying. And this worked. This worked. Because on the second vote for Nice and on the second vote for Lisbon, they used the exact same tactics and people went out and they voted yes. And I remember talking to people who were voting on the second vote and people had never, well, people I knew weren't like your normal voters, you know. But they were riled up to go out and vote because they were afraid. They were scared. They were scared, you know. They were scared by the propaganda and they were scared by the government. And I remember saying, well, which way are you voting? Oh, I'm voting yes, they'd say. And I said to them, like, well, why are you voting yes? And they would go to me, I don't know, I'm just voting yes. You know? No thought about it whatsoever. They were voting yes because they were frightened. And they didn't want to say they were frightened. And that's what happened. And that's not democracy, guys.
Okay, so Peter, thank you so much to everyone that took out their time to be with us. We really appreciate you all from the bottom of our hearts. Please do take care of yourself. It's a bit late right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah, the US do have the Constitution, which includes the First Amendment.
That is.
Patricia. And the US Constitution is pretty strong, you know. It was written by very, very smart people, to be honest. In Ireland, we're lucky enough to have a fairly strong constitution. Unfortunately, it can be ambiguous in some very important areas, and it's simply because the people who read it didn't envisage the way it would be challenged in some of the manners it would be challenged, you know. But because there's multiple safeguards within our constitution in Ireland, a problem can be attacked in more than one direction, if you know what I mean. Because more than one point of the constitution can be applied to a specific sort of change, you know. But unfortunately, I expect a lot of this to be railroaded over. I think America is going the opposite direction. The globalists have said that Europe falls first. So we fall first, guys. That's what they're saying. And they said this a long, long time ago, guys. This is 20-year-old stuff I'm talking about. You know what I mean? This is when I first heard it. And I think that's what we're witnessing. We're witnessing the fall of Europe. We're witnessing its decline. We're witnessing economic destruction, and like Nord Stream, the destruction of them pipelines was basically the heartblood that fed Europe was cut off. That gas that allowed for all that production was all taken away, and it also allowed for the huge amounts of production of electricity and stuff like that. So, and not only that, they're moving towards this sustainability crap, and sort of moving towards saying that they can generate all the electricity they need from wind power and solar, which is absolute. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, basic looking at this, it doesn't add up. It just doesn't add up. But they're destroying arable land all across Europe to install wind farms. Or sorry, not just wind farms, the solar farms, and all these things have a knock on effect. They affect food production, they affect agriculture. If you look at the way the world is structured, there are no energy poor first world countries, as they call them today. There's just none. Like China is building a coal plant every 2 weeks or something like that. You know what I mean? A coal generation plant every couple of weeks. So
Yeah.
so regardless of how much electrical power they're generating via wind and solar, it's nowhere near compatible to what they're generating through coal and other methods. So Catherine Connolly, Patrick says. Catherine Connolly, Patrick, is a globalist. She's an open borders globalist. And personally speaking, I don't vote for globalists. That's my position. Nor will I ever vote I know what globalization means. I know what they want. And what they want is exactly what they have in China. They want a social credit system with 15-minute cities that you can't move out of unless a government say so. And if you're a bad girl or a bad boy and your credit score drops too low, then you don't move full stop. In fact, you don't even have a place to live. They'll kick you out on the street. And that's already happening in China. They trialed it. The globalists trialed this out. People think that Patrick's saying that China is also number one in creating green energy. That's what I think he's saying. Yeah, they would be number one considering the volume, Patrick. But I mean, they're not in the amount that they're doing. Yes, they're number one. But if you think about the size of the country and the amount of people, it doesn't really take them to work very hard to get that number one spot. You know what I mean? But there are no low energy first world countries. China is knocking out a coal fired power plant every couple of weeks. And they're just pumping them out like nobody's business. And they're gigawatt producing power plants. They or megawatt, sorry, whatever, producing power plants. These people, if you believe what they're saying all the time, then you bought into them too much. You know what I mean? Because no government tells the truth. It's not in their interests. When is it down? When is it down?
It's because I'm
Before
still
you knock this
going
over, when it's down. No government. It's not in their interests, guys. Please, love. It's not in their interests. You know what I mean?
You know, you can continue this tomorrow, right now.
Yes. Okay, baby. I don't. I'm just finishing off.
Okay, round up
But
so I can go.
yeah, Patrick might well be a Gen Z kid. He might well be. I don't know. Well done, Timu, Patricia says. Yeah. Timu's done well out of it. Like, I mean, guys, if you look at the whole history of China, if you look at the basics, guys, China, when I was growing up, was a basket case. It had nothing. Its people were skinny, and the reason they were skinny was because it had very little to eat. It was a very agricultural-based economy in China, and which had gone on for decades upon decades. I don't know if any of you know the history of this, but this is true, guys, and I'm not going to lie to you. It's true. You can look it up, and if someone wants to find the truth, it's out there. It's very easy to find. Mao's Little Red Book wasn't written by Mao. Communism doesn't come from Russia, and it didn't originate in China as a result of some organic, crazy political transition that came from Russia. Communism originated in China from the Bolshevik, or in Russia from the Bolsheviks, and the Bolsheviks, the people who controlled them were the Jews. and the people who wrote Mao's Little Bear book were the Jews, and some of them held seats in the in the Chinese, whatever you call it, our parliament. They have a name for it. It won't come into my head right now. They held seats in them, some of these Jews, for 40 and 50 years, and they're the only people on earth that did. You know what I mean? So guys, this game, and it is a game to these people, guys. It's a game. It's a control game. It's a system game, and they have been gaming it for a very, very, very long time. China was brought in from the cold. It was brought in from the cold, from the international sort of story, politics, and general idea in people's heads. It was brought in from the cold, and it was brought in from the cold by Western money. Western industry was pumped into China because there was none. 1 minute China, when I was growing up, was a big bad wolf, and they treated their people so badly, and they were hammered in the international press on a constant basis. And then all of a sudden that just disappeared. There was no talking about China. Nothing was said about them. There wasn't a word about how bad China was anymore, and how bad communism. In fact, communism didn't even get mentioned anymore. And when that all happened, there was a massive amount of industry that left Western society, left Western Europe, it left America, it left a lot of these places like Australia, Canada, and it all moved to China, and they set up shop. And they kick-started the Chinese economy. You're going to knock this over, love.
Oh, sorry, Papa.
So they kick-started the Chinese economy.
Maybe I will leave you.
And this, yeah, go and sit
If you
down.
don't know how to end it, like
I know how to live. I know how to live it. I know how to live it.
please tomorrow.
I can just turn it off.
No,
So
you don't know. You
there's
can't
one
just-
there, right?
Yeah.
And there's one there. So anyway, they kickstarted they used Western technology and Western money to kickstart the Chinese economy, and then they stepped back because they didn't need to stay involved. And it didn't care, because these people don't care about money. Money means nothing to them. They have all the money, and they control the markets. They control every aspect of money, so they don't really care. And then they stepped back, and China steamrolled itself from there. But yet and all, like everything you see online will say China is self-made, and it done it all by itself, and it pulled itself up. China was let into the world. The world opened its arms and embraced China. But the world doesn't do that unless somebody says do it. You know what I mean? Because up until that point, the world was closed to China. China couldn't get anywhere. They couldn't sell. They couldn't trade. They couldn't do anything. But yet and all, in a few short years, they became a powerhouse. And they became a powerhouse because it's what the globalists wanted them to become. That was all part of the game, because you can't have globalization without all the main controllers of the different big nations agreeing to it. They had to be brought up. Their elite had to be raised up to be on a level with the rest of the world elite, so as they could all gel together, and they could all hobnob together and say that we're the world elite. You know, we've all got this money, and we've all got this and that, and that's what they did. That's what they did. And anybody that can't see that, to me, well, I can understand why people can't see it. I can understand, because I lived through it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of young people today that didn't live through it, and they don't really know what it was like way back then.
Oh my God! I want to watch the good nights.
So
Please end the live stream.
I will in a minute,
It's because
baby. How many times have I told you?
end this.
I do.
Oh yeah. Now tell
I
me.
do. I just
How will
told
you
you.
do it?
I told you a minute ago.
That's
Yes,
And
and
this.
that. Yes.
that's enough for now. Please.
Right.
So,
Well, I'll finish when I'm ready. So anyway, guys,
guys, good night, please. Tomorrow.
go. Good night.
Oh, my phones.
Go. Good night.
Good night, sweetheart.
Yes.
Thank
Good
you
night.
for
Good night.
supporting us.
Good night.
Bye,
So-
everyone.
So anyway, don't do not.
Okay.
So anyway, guys, Yeah, there's a lot more. There's a lot more to all this, guys, and there's a lot less to it as well. Like, I mean, a lot of it's fairly simple, but it's all centered around globalization. Every aspect of what's happening, what happened to that child the other day, a few days ago, all of it is a direct result of globalization, and they don't care. None of them care. The politicians don't care. None of the people who call themselves elite, who consider themselves better than everybody else, or cleaner, better washed, fed on cake, whatever you want to call it. These people, they think the sun shines out of their proverbial back ends. Um, they uh, they don't care, guys. None of them. They never have, and they never will. We were a means to an end. I'll say one thing before I go. I'll say one thing before I say goodnight. The end game, guys. The end game, no matter what, right, is the biodigital convergence. That's their end game. And my advice would be to anybody that's listening, avoid it. Don't accept it. Don't go with their biodigital convergence, guys, because that is the true end game. So good night, and God bless, and keep yourselves safe, people.